episode 426 of Global from Asia. I'm here in Taiwan and we're talking about Japan bridges. Let us tune in now.
Welcome to the Global from Asia podcast, where the daunting process of running an international business is broken down into straight-up, actionable advice. And now, your host, Michael Michelini.
Thank you for choosing to listen to or maybe watch. You can check out where I'm at in the background if you're watching. Global from Asia, episode 426, talking about Japan bridges. I'm doing this intro while I'm in Taipei, Taiwan. I kind of enjoy when I just take the camera and walk out. I'm gonna go grab some dinner. I'll talk to you after the show. I'll just have a little chit chat while I eat. If you want to hear some insights about different things, Japan we'll talk about, and other opportunities I've been studying. So we'll do that after the interview with Gary Huang is back. He's got the Japan Mastermind Summit happening in Okinawa this year in April, and we're also giving amazing value. I mean, man, this was a jam-packed informational podcast. Would recommend screen share, but we do it for both video and audio, where we talk about these different free trade agreements, different strategies for Japan, for international business, for logistics. I think there's some kind of pirates attacks happening, and shipping rates increases, and never a dull moment in international business or cross-border trade. Let's get into the show with Gary, and I'm going to find a little restaurant. I'm literally just walking around looking for somewhere to eat by myself, and I'll take the camera with me if you want to listen to my blah 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 after the interview. But let's go into the show. Gary Huang talking about the bridges to Japan. Are you looking for USA banking solutions for your e-commerce business? I am proud to say Mercury.com is supporting the podcast here, third year in a row at Global from Asia, and we're proud to say it because we use them ourselves for many of our own Amazon brands and e-commerce brands and joint ventures with our US structures. And they're super easy to do, online application, no fees, and they have great customer support, have helped us with trouble with Amazon Seller Central over the years about some receipts and statements and everything like that. So we're so happy to say thank you, Mercury, for supporting our show, being a great service, and supporting other e-commerce sellers. We're really proud to say they're a sponsor here, and we also have a video tutorial as well as an overview and a special link with a little bonus for you as well for us under certain conditions. Check it out at globalfromasia.com/Mercury for that information. Thank you for listening, and thank you, Mercury. I guess I'll start it off. So thank you, everybody, for tuning into our Global from Asia podcast. We have our friend, and really we've been through a lot over the years and always are going through business together, Gary Huang, and he's talking about the 6 bridges to sell into Amazon Japan. Yeah, I had the pleasure to join in Tokyo last April, and I'm excited for what's coming this time. We'll talk about that towards the end, but there's lots of news happening. There's lots of updates. We were doing some research. He was researching this just as we led up to this show. So thanks for being here, Gary. It's great to have you back. Thanks.
Thank you for having me, Mike. It's always a pleasure to come on. And yeah, I think we're a lot of overlap in the e-com world, and also having a young family and being a father as well. So I really always enjoy speaking with you, Mike. So happy to add some value today.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm excited for this too.
Yeah. So should we get into it?
Yeah, I think we got a lot to go into. So yeah.
Yeah. So I'm sure as e-com and Amazon sellers, there's been a lot on the news recently. And one of the big news issues that some sellers are not aware of yet is actually in the Suez Canal. So I don't know if you've seen on the news, but I mean, literally, the Suez Canal, there's been like rockets and missiles being fired at container ships. There's literally pirates there. They're like aiming their missiles at container ships. I'm not going to get behind the politics of why that stuff is going on. I mean, that's above my pay grade. But as an e-com seller and as an Amazon seller, why should you care? The reason is container shipping prices are doubling and tripling just in the past month, ever since December 2023. Oh, no. I have this graphic. I know most of you guys aren't watching, but I can kind of visually describe previously, like in the beginning of December, before like these pirates started shooting these missiles, they were hovering about 1,500 a container. We're talking from Shanghai, Long Beach, right? But afterwards, we're seeing 2,500, 2,700. And I looked recently at like some are over 3,000, right? So obviously, if you're going to pay like double, triple the container shipping prices, that's going to hit you on your bottom line for your business. So looking at the calendar right now, I mean, I feel like now is the right time to optimize your supply chain because, basically, what are they doing, right? I mean, like because the missiles are flying in Suez Canal, like they're diverting these ships. These ships are typically traveling between Asia, Middle East, and Asia, Europe, right? So the Suez Canal, as you can see from this image, is kind of like a shortcut, like from Europe through past Yemen, Israel to Europe, right? I mean, from Asia to Europe. But now they have to go the long way. They have to go all the way down south, past the tip of Africa, around the Cape of Good Hope, and then back up north to Europe. So literally, they're adding like, I don't know, like 5,000 or 6,000 nautical miles to that journey. They're extending it by several more weeks. So that's more time, that's more fuel, that's more money, more cost, right? So this is extending the time it takes to ship. And I know some sellers are not selling in Europe. This is still affecting sellers shipping into the US because it's a ripple effect all over the world with all of the ocean freight. So, I did some research. The Freightos index, I mean, it's showing about like mid 2000s per container right now. So that's why it's really important that sellers pay attention to this right now. And the other big factor is Chinese New Year. So Chinese New Year, obviously, this is expected. This happens every year at the end of January and February. The Chinese have their longest holiday of the year, right? So factories, if you're sourcing from a Chinese factory, if you're using a sourcing agent or an inspection agency or logistics, everybody's going to be out for at least 2 weeks up to a month, right? During this time, it makes sense for smart sellers to kind of look at their supply chain, look at their sourcing, see if there's ways that you can optimize that, you can shave some costs, because obviously the economy is kind of flat right now. There's more competition, costs are going up. So I wanted to walk you guys through a couple of ways that we're seeing smart sellers do.
I'm learning myself. I wasn't aware. I actually just sent a WeChat to my logistics company group asking about this. So, literally. They did
send them a
screenshot
of little, this.
Yeah, they did. I did. And I said, well, they did bump it up a little bit January 1, but it wasn't honestly that like big of a deal for the container.
Not yet. I hope they can lock it in. Maybe they negotiated something, but across the board, like supply chain professionals, I'm in a lot of like private chat groups. Everybody's talking about this in the supply chain world right now. This is kind of like a black swan type thing right now. So basically, I wanted to raise one solution for e-com sellers, because if you look at the map, right? If you look at China shipping to the US, it's very far, right? It takes like 30 days to 45 days for a shipment to arrive from, let's say, Shanghai to Long Beach. And we're talking about not just the time on the boat, but going through the port, getting the booking, like deboarding, etc., right? 30 to 45 days. But if you consider selling closer to the source, like let's say Japan, for example, Japan is actually China's neighbor. And then if you look at the map, I mean, literally, it only takes 7 to 10 days, like for the goods to arrive from China into Japan. So if you look at like just like the time savings, right? We're talking about 45 days down to 10 days, right? I mean, in terms of selling, that means that you can really cut the time and you can cut the expense. And I remember last year, I was speaking to an 8-figure seller, Brandon Young, about this, showing him this information. And it was like, he's doing like tens of millions of dollars in the US, and like a light bulb just went off in his head. He was like, this is a no-brainer. You can turn your inventory a lot faster. You don't have to place like 3 months of inventory and hold that cash, right? You can place smaller orders because you can feed the Amazon fulfillment centers in Japan a lot faster than you can feed the ones in the US. So it just has like a compound effect on your business. It can free up your cash flow. It can reduce your shipping costs, expenses. And we'll also talk about like free trade agreements that Japan has with other countries. So I feel that a lot of people are kind of sleeping on this, on Japan, and Japan is so close to China. And literally, I mean, you could save like so much time, so much money considering opening up this marketplace. But at the same time,
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I was just joking.
yeah. Go ahead.
Hopefully no pirates come between those two places. It's a bad joke, maybe. But
Yeah. I think there's a lot of other political risks as
yeah,
well. I
there
mean,
is
with China and Japan,
I
but
forgot about that
yeah, I
island.
mean,
There was an island, right? I don't want maybe we should put bad word.
the islands and yeah, but that's like a whole nother story. I mean, knock on wood. Hopefully, this thing will keep peace. Lighter, smarter heads will prevail. So I wanted to also just quickly highlight because a lot of people. Should we talk a little bit about why sellers should consider Japan?
Of course, yeah, I think it's always a good reminder if those that aren't familiar, but for those the first time, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, I mean, if you haven't considered Japan, just some quick facts. Japan's the fourth biggest Amazon marketplace in the world, and Japan has the third largest GDP in the world. They have 126 million people, which is double the population of UK. And I think one cool thing for Amazon sellers is Amazon Japan is the number one e-commerce site in Japan. And like literally, like here, I'm sitting in Tokyo. Amazon has same day delivery, Prime, next day Prime, just like in the US and other countries. And it's a huge market that most people are not considering. And then on the selling side, you're wondering like, is Japan super saturated like the US? Actually, Japan ranks number 8 in terms of the competition level, in terms of the number of sellers. So the market size is number 4 biggest Amazon market in the world, but the competition is only number 8. So, I mean, that's pretty simple math, right? I mean, that's like a blue ocean opportunity, right? You have a big market. You don't have as much competition. The competition is a lot less sophisticated as well. So like people say the riches are in the niches, right?
Yeah.
I think Japan is the niche, right? It's only ranked number 8. There's more people selling in Spain, France, Canada, these smaller countries than in Japan. So I think it makes a lot of sense to consider this. And I polled our audience not too long ago. 230 sellers responded. I asked them which Amazon marketplaces are you guys selling in? So out of the 230, 173 or 75% are selling in US. UK is 30%. Germany is 15%. Japan is only 5%. There were only 13 people out of 230. So I think literally nobody is selling in Japan. So that's why I wanted to bring this opportunity for you guys. And one other thing, I know a lot of people are feeling the pain, higher rising PPC costs. Like overall in Japan, PPC costs are lower than in the US. I mean, PPC costs are growing, but they're still lower in the US. I mean, we're seeing CPCs as low as 29 cents per click. So we feel like it's kind of ridiculous that so many people are just like sleeping on Japan. They're not even considering it. So I wanted to share some insight for you guys and given the whole shipping fiasco. And we'll also talk about some trade agreements as well.
Yeah. The bridges.
Yeah. The bridges. Okay. So I know a lot of people for Japan, if you've thought about it, there's like a lot of challenges, right? People are worried about the language barrier. But there's ways that you can overcome that. In fact, we found out there's ways you can do keyword research in Japan, even if you don't speak any Japanese. And one of the bridges is that exactly. We're talking about localization. I'll share more ways that you guys can learn how to do that. There's also people that are worried about steps to set up my Seller Central. One of the big things, I sell in Amazon Japan. I know a little bit of Japanese. I am by no means fluent. My son, he's in pre-kindergarten. He's 5. I think his Japanese level is going to very quickly surpass mine. Wow. But I can still sell in Amazon Japan. Why? Because one big reason is Seller Central, Amazon Japan is all in English. So if you're already familiar with US Seller Central, it's the same thing in Japan. Okay, so that's one big thing in our favor. And also FBA works the same way. So you can send all of your products to the Japan fulfillment centers and they'll fulfill them for you. And then PPC, all the same ad campaigns, most of them are all here in Japan. I mean, some of the newer ones may not exist yet, but I mean, the strategies are there. And another big hurdle is a lot of people have questions about importing regulations, and we'll cover that as one of the bridges to cross as well. So yeah, that's why I wanted to share with you guys today. Like, these are some of the biggest challenges that will help you guys cross. And for those of you like meeting me the first time. I'm quick. Should I give a quick intro
Yeah,
about
of
myself?
course, man. I like the picture. I've seen this. I like this profile photo. It's one of my favorites for you.
Yeah. So yeah, this photo was taken back when I lived in Shanghai. I'm originally from the US. I was born and raised in LA. I went to USC. I like to say my background is the intersection of supply chain and e-commerce.
Yeah.
So the first product I sold online was back in 2005. It was on eBay. My first private label brand were women's shoes that I bought from a Chinese importer in Los Angeles. That's how I got started.
That's a cool story.
And in 2008, I majored in Chinese. My family is originally from mainland China. Even though, I only spoke Chinese at home, I was kind of fascinated with Shanghai. Back then, it was like the boom days. It was like New York City, super cosmopolitan. I really wanted to make a shift. So I moved out to Shanghai in 2008 and I found a job in sourcing and supply chain. So that was the second chapter with sourcing. And then over time, I visited hundreds of Chinese factories. I represented my foreign clients, helped them source many, many different products from solar water heaters to exercise bikes to auto parts. Umbrellas, you name it. So really learned like the tricks of the trade, the dirty tricks and everything. And so my goal right now is to help sellers succeed. And physically being in Japan, I see the opportunity that most people aren't aware of. So I really want to kind of bring light to this opportunity to you guys. All right. So let's get into the 6 bridges to Amazon Japan. Mike, jump in anytime. Yeah, sure. Anytime, any questions, let me know. Just cut me off anytime you see there's something that resonates. Okay. The first bridge, I think this is key. To get started in Japan, you have to look at product market fit. Okay. So I'm assuming if you're listening, if you're interested, you're an Amazon seller already selling, let's say in Amazon.com US or Amazon UK or Germany, and you see there's an opportunity in Japan, but you're not sure. The $1 million question is my product going to sell in Japan? Okay, so I can share a couple tools and couple ways that we can kind of de-risk that decision before you pull the trigger. Okay, so the first tool I recommend is Amazon's Product Opportunity Explorer. So I'm sure a lot of you guys are familiar with this. Mike, I think you're familiar with this as well. This is Amazon's internal like keyword research tool. So the beauty of this tool is that first, it can give you a size of your market based on your keywords in Japanese. Okay. And number 2 is this is 100% from the source. Okay. So the data is directly from Amazon. It's 100% accurate. There's other tools out there that there's some degree of accuracy and error, but this is direct from the horse's mouth, so to speak. So that's why Product Opportunity Explorer is one of the keys to gauge the size of the market. Okay. I know you're probably thinking, what if I don't speak Japanese? I mean, there's ways that you can understand the language using tools like AI, using apps like Google Sheets. And we talked about that in another webinar. And maybe we can link that up below. We have like a 1-hour training that we did together with Helium 10 and with Ritu Java.
Sure.
She's a Japan localization expert. If you have any questions on that, but basically, ChatGPT translation skills are like, if you compare with Google Translate is maybe 50-60%. ChatGPT can get it up to like maybe 90-95%. Like amazing. I've done like tests like customer service emails, even writing letters to Amazon customer support in Japanese. And then I showed it to a local Japanese person and they were surprised. Like it was like the formality, the grammar, it was written very naturally. So definitely check that out and use ChatGPT 4, like the paid version. That's better than 3.5. Okay, so just a quick tip. Okay.
Thanks.
In terms of doing keyword research, search volume, competitor analysis, the 3 top tools all support Amazon Japan. So Jungle Scout, Helium 10, as well as Data Dive, they all support Japan. So you can do that keyword research. I also would recommend that you guys just play around with Amazon Japan's website. So go to amazon.co.jp. Okay. And once you go on, like the whole screen is Japanese, but there's an option. You can actually change the language to English. So this is what I do. So you can search in English for your product, and then you can get an idea of the competition level, what they're selling for, the number of reviews. And you might be surprised because most of your competitors, I guarantee, are not going to be there, right? So this is still like the niche is Japan. So even like if you're selling like yoga mats, like you don't really have to niche down to like a yoga mat for like, I don't know, pregnant moms, etc. You can just do like, maybe you can even just go direct into yoga mats because Japan is the niche, but definitely use these tools. Okay. The next tool, the fourth tool that I like to recommend is something that it's a nifty little tool called YouTube. Okay. Some of you guys may have heard of it. YouTube is actually a great way. If you can't physically go to Japan, you can get a glimpse how Japanese people use a product. So for example, if you're selling a kitchen product, what you can do is you can go on YouTube and just type in Japanese kitchen tour or Japanese kitchen walkthrough, and you'll get a whole bunch of real videos of people shooting their Japanese kitchens. So you can see like you can literally see how small the kitchens are. And Mike, I know some of you guys are on the podcast, you can't see, but Mike, like from the screenshot that I took, there's like a Western girl there walking through a Japanese kitchen. What strikes your eye first? In this picture, I'm just curious.
To be honest, the first thing is she's really taller. That oven vent is low. I mean, I guess because her head is on the left. But yeah, it definitely looks small. Everything's hanging on the wall, like everything. There's no table space, counter space.
Right. Everything is vertical. I mean, you have like the knife, like magnetic knife holder against the wall. You have like shelves, and you see pots hanging vertically. And another big thing that I noticed that's different is like, do you see an oven there?
Yeah, no oven.
Yeah, there's no oven. There's like a little fish grill underneath like the burner, but there's no oven, right? And then there's also no dishwasher as well. So if you sell like anything that's like oven, like those big like oven like mitts or
the mitts,
the oven mitts. That's not going to work, right? And if you were to look outside, if you're selling like grill gloves or stuff like that, that's not going to work at all because like they don't have barbecues outside. So I mean, I think you guys understand like this is kind of like a sanity check just to see how a Japanese kitchen would look like. And you can also search for your keyword, right? So to see if Japanese people are using your product or not. If they are, there's probably some YouTube videos that you can find. And then on the right side here, I know like most guys can't see this, but this is like, there's a picture of a lady holding a little plastic device, putting it into a box of rice. Like, Mike, do you know what that is?
I don't know what it is, but I have a guess, but I don't know.
What do you think it is?
Takes the water out of the rice, like keeps it dry. Storage.
I like a dehydrator.
Yeah,
that's a good guess. Almost. This thing actually keeps bugs from growing in your rice, like your dry rice. Yeah, because rice is huge. Like every single household in Japan has a rice cooker, ourselves included, right? So that's like one of the niche type products. So stuff like this you can find on YouTube. Okay, so I also, for product market fit, wanted to share like an example of something that doesn't work. And let's take a look at this. Okay, one example that would not work are taco holders, right? Like food taco holders. So this would not work in Japan because I love tacos too, but unfortunately Japanese people aren't that into tacos, right? I mean, maybe a sushi holder, but not taco holders. You don't really see a market for that, right? So
Mexican taco
definitely
Tuesday.
do your it's pretty rare. You don't see people making tacos at home. So anyways, these are some examples of ways that you can do product market fit analysis for Japan. Okay, should we go to the next bridge?
Yeah, let's keep on rolling, man. This is great.
Okay, so the second bridge to help sellers enter Japan is localization. And it's also known as Japanification. Okay, so localization, it goes beyond just translating. So you have to make sure your listings are tailored to the Japanese marketplace and also the culture. So everything not just the translation, but from the images to the product description, even to the packaging. Okay, so in this example that we're looking at cosmetics brand Maybelline New York. So they're a US cosmetics brand, but you can see on their Amazon storefront that they've totally localized the listing. They're using Asian models. They're using like different types of makeup, like coloring, and then also the text and everything. It's changed into Japanese. Like I'm not obviously a beauty expert, but my wife tells me like the Asian cosmetic brands like are developed for different skin types. So that's just an example how Maybelline and these brands they've localized to the market and also with the keywords as well. Okay. So the big takeaway that I want to share with you guys is first for localization, get your translations done by a professional, okay? And ideally, not just any random Japanese translator, but someone that has some Amazon SEO experience and translation experience. So this way, they know the style, like the copywriting for Amazon, and this way they can write your listings effectively. And also, you can feed them the right keywords that you want to rank for. Okay.
Awesome.
I wanted to also give you a quick example of Japanification. So, Mike, I want to put you on the spot. Do you want to play along?
I'll play. I'm liking the picture so far.
Okay. So pop quiz. What is everyone's favorite Christmas dinner restaurant in Japan? Take a guess.
I think I got a guess because of the picture, but
yeah. Okay.
But yeah, fried chicken. Yeah, KFC. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't know that actually.
The answer is KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken, KFC. The reason is because, during, I believe the 60s, there was a local Japanese manager at KFC, and there was like an office party that they were catering for Christmas. So the guy wanted to make it like an American thing. So he dressed up as Santa Claus and he brought like buckets of fried chicken. And then the Japanese people loved that. They're like, oh, this is so cool. This is like, they thought this was like an American thing, right? Because you see in the movies like Christmas and everyone's having like their turkey. Yeah, Santa, turkey and roast beef and stuff. But remember back in the kitchen, there's no oven, right? Wow. There's no way like a Japanese family could roast like a turkey. So they're like, okay, KFC, that's American, right? And chicken, close enough. So you would never believe it. I just found this out last year. Huh. For Christmas, KFC, they actually take bookings in KFCs and they're fully booked like Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, right? Japanese family, they want to celebrate Christmas at KFC. So this is an example, like this is an extreme example of Japanification, like how a US brand localize their product to the culture, genius, I mean, that's pretty genius, but it just shows that the market, they're open to these types of products. And some people are asking, should I translate my US brand? I would say a lot of Japanese people, especially the young people, they like foreign culture. They like Western culture, like US brands. Just keep it in English. It is cool. I mean, you can translate it into like the local, like katakana, that there's like couple different language scripts, but you can keep the English because the English looks cool. And oftentimes you can keep the English packaging as well, but make sure you have the Japanese instructions for people to use it because it kind of enhances like the foreign, like the cool factor as well. Okay. Yeah. So these are some examples of Japanification and how.
So Gary and family is going to KFC on Christmas this year,
huh? My wife wanted to go to KFC.
Really?
She loves. Yeah, she loves like the hot and spicy. Like they have local like KFC flavors too that you don't see on the stateside. Yeah,
Christmas KFC. I might do it even I'm not there now. Sounds fun.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Okay, so let's keep going. So bridge number 3. This is one of the critical ones. This is about import and compliance. So I know a lot of people, like their biggest question is what sort of compliance regulations, what kind of like licenses I have to get. I'm not a compliance expert, but I can give you a high level overview. The Japanese import customs, they closely scrutinize 4 key categories. Okay, so if you're thinking about importing to Japan, if you sell in one of these 4 categories, pay attention. Supplements, cosmetics, medical devices, and plastic products that touches food or drink. Okay, so basically anything that goes on the body or goes in the body, even if it's like a water bottle, right? Okay, so these are key categories you need to pay special attention to. And also, if you're wondering about the cost of this, the cost depends on the size and the complexity of the product, and you may need to test separate parts of the product, which can be more expensive. So the more complex, the more moving parts, the more expensive it is. Okay.
Is that per
And
product or like, can you do that across? Because actually, I mean, even for me, my categories are touching product that people eat or drink.
Mhm.
So if we have like a range, if it's like, can you kind of get a blanket or you got to do per? Yeah, maybe you don't know, but I don't
I
know.
would talk to import compliance specialist, someone like a Unigate.
Yeah, you
They
need
would,
let
I
them.
mean, they can literally do an evaluation for you for like $8 US. Like, so for the price of going to Starbucks, you can find out exactly what you need.
Really? Wow, I
So I
didn't.
think that,
Okay, I'll take it up.
yeah,
I know I met them
yeah,
at your event, so they're awesome. They're
yeah.
definitely awesome.
They're,
I didn't know it was
yeah,
that
I mean, they
cheap,
know
to
their
be
stuff.
honest. Yeah.
They're doing a special promotion for the seven figure seller community, and
Okay.
Mike, you're part of it.
Yeah, I
So
am.
I
I
mean,
am.
if you need, yeah, definitely check them out, and maybe we can link them up below in the show notes if anyone's
Sure.
interested. But yeah, I mean, literally like $8. They're
Okay.
doing a special offer for the initial compliance. Like they'll give you an idea of what you need.
Great.
All right. Okay. So let's move on to bridge number 4. So shipping, logistics, and 3PL. So we talked about this a little earlier. Okay. So it's going to be a lot faster because you're close to the source. And also, okay, I wanted to talk
Yeah,
also
this one I'm
about
looking
something
forward
new.
to. Yeah.
Yeah. So Japan also has many trade agreements with a number of countries. And these countries include India, Vietnam, Thailand, European countries as well. I mean, literally, I found like a list of over a dozen different countries that Japan has free trade agreements with. So what does this mean? Free trade, it's kind of like walking in the airport and there's like the duty free store, right? So if you're, rather than buying like your whiskey or like your liquor or your cosmetics at like a department store, right? You can go to the duty free shop and you can probably save like 10%. The same thing applies if you're selling in Japan. If you source from Thailand, many of the products are duty free. So you can not only save on the China US tariffs, so that's going to be immediate 25% cost saving because there's no trade war going on with Japan. Okay. And number 2 is you can eliminate a lot of the duties because in the US, there's different duties based on different HS codes and product categories. In Japan, because of these free trade agreements with India, Vietnam, and Thailand, you're able to drop that even lower, possibly to 0. So what does that mean for sellers? That means for your product costs, you can lower the landed costs. Like if you get rid of the tariff, that's 25%. If there's another 17% duty, 40%, and then there could be other duties on top of that as well, right? So combine that with the close proximity that Japan is to these Asian countries. I mean, that just like amplifies the savings. And especially right now, just with the reduced cost, that means more margin. So you can either maintain your price, take more margin, or you can price more aggressively. And so literally you don't have to like stay on that slow boat from China to US, to Europe, right? You can really speed things up sourcing locally as well as taking advantage of these trade
That's great.
agreements.
Yeah.
So Mike, I know that you're working with factories in Thailand. Like, are you, I mean, and I know that you guys did some research on this as well. Like, do you want to weigh in on this? Like, what you guys are seeing?
Sure. Of course, it's very interesting. Like you said, we're buying more in Thailand lately. And yeah, our team member helped do some research. But definitely Japan is in there on this list of some research just from honestly just some article we found just at the beginning of 2024, January 9th, lists Thailand, Japan, and a partnership where basically it has, as long as you have a company in Thailand, it has to be but it has to be a level of less than 50% foreign owned, it says, as far as this JTEPA guideline. And then, oh, that's the importing into. Sorry, I wasn't really ready for this, to be honest with you, but
No worries. Yeah,
I didn't read the full text, but there's some guidelines. But some of the shareholders in Japan, at least the importer in Japan, needs to be Japanese, it seems like. JTEPA. I don't know if you see that one. Japan Thailand Economic
Basically,
Partnership Agreement, JTEPA.
yeah. I mean, basically, I mean that actually leads on to our next point. You I mean, you don't have to have a Japanese.
Yeah, I guess you don't have to have a company, right?
You don't need to register a company in Japan, or you don't have to physically be based in Japan. What you do need is what they call an ACP. ACP stands for Attorney for Customs Procedures. So if you have a representative that can do ACP for you, basically the Japanese government wants someone to be accountable if something goes wrong, right? So they need some company that's registered in Japan. It doesn't have to be your company. So this is kind of like an agent. So someone like, for example, Unigate, like what we mentioned earlier, the import compliance specialist, they can offer this service for you. Okay, so if you use someone like a Unigate, then you can take advantage of the free trade agreement between Thailand, Japan, between India, and Japan,
because
between
they're
Vietnam,
Japanese.
Japan.
Got it.
Yeah, because they're Japanese, right? So you can take advantage of that, and then take advantage of Amazon Japan's opportunity as well. I'm not going to get into the nitty gritty of like the different countries and the exact free trade agreements, because that's like a whole
each one is a
master's level of degree. But I do know, like I did high level research that these free trade agreements exist between these countries: Vietnam, India, Australia, Europe, UK, Switzerland, Mexico, Chile, Singapore, Thailand, Philippines, Indonesia, Brunei, Malaysia, Peru, Canada, New Zealand, and the US. But it varies by the product. Okay, some have like nearly all tariffs eliminated. Some still have partial. Okay, so I would do some research, or I would talk to someone like an import specialist, like a Unigate. They can find out the specifics for you. Okay, I mean these are like what you pay like the customs brokers for, to give you like an educated answer. But for us entrepreneurs and for Amazon sellers, I just want you guys to know that Japan has these free trade agreements, so that way you can circumvent the US-China tariffs and you can get additional duty reductions through these agreements. So yeah, I hope that makes sense.
No, it's great. It's definitely great. And then thanks for clarifying or helping me out. Because the website says you have to be a Japanese majority owned, but like you said, you're not a Japanese company. You're using like this importer. I'm just kind of reiterating that for people listening. So if they read those docs, right, they don't have maybe the Japanese company importing, but they could use the importer for the Japanese company requirement.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So should we move on?
Yeah, let's roll. Let's keep going, man. It's great.
Okay. So let's move on to the fifth bridge for entering Amazon Japan. That's launch strategy. So, I mean, obviously launch strategy is super important. If people want to launch as high as possible, get ranked on page 1 on Amazon, take advantage of the honeymoon period. I think if we apply the 80-20 rule, like the number one thing that Amazon sellers should do when they launch in Japan is just keep in mind, if you have like a seasoned SKU, if you have a product, let's say selling in the US, it already has like 700 reviews. And if you enter the Japan market with that same SKU, you can actually carry over those 700 reviews from Amazon US into Amazon Japan. So that way, from day one, rather than 0 reviews, you have 700 reviews. And this is amplified in Japan because our earlier point, the low level of competition means that the average reviews threshold in Japan, Amazon Japan, is a lot lower than US, than UK, than Germany. So you need fewer reviews to compete in Japan than those other countries. Okay, so those 700 reviews, let's say in the US, maybe you were in the middle of the pack, right, on the page, right, 700. But in Japan, maybe you'll be near the top of the pack, on the top of the page for those reviews. And I just have one example. This is kind of an extreme example, but looking at these diapers, right, these diapers sold in the US, there's about 70,486 global reviews. But in Japan, these diapers only have 13 reviews, right? I mean, that's kind of an extreme example, but on the whole, the average review threshold in Amazon Japan is a lot lower. So that means launch strategy, carry over your reviews. You have that social proof, like from day one, if you're already selling. So that's why I think it's a great opportunity for Amazon Japan, for Amazon sellers to get in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Yeah. All right. So let's get to the last bridge, and that is to optimize your sales and marketing. Amazon PPC in Japan, it works very similar to US and European Amazon markets. Overall costs are lower in Japan. And there's also opportunities for new types of promotions ads. And also there's in-depth data for analysis optimization. Also, I wanted to highlight external traffic. I know a lot of you guys want to do that as well. Influencer marketing is very big in Japan, and also social media is key as well. So I'll include a couple of examples. I also wanted to credit our friend Ritu Java. She shared a lot of very, very good information about influencer marketing. So I kind of wanted to pass along the word. So full credit to Ritu on like the next two topics. So influencer marketing in Japan, the top platforms are YouTube and TikTok, and also Twitter it's still very big. Twitter used to be the number one platform social media in Japan for many years. And I remember a Japanese person said the reason why is because like the text limit on Twitter, like back in the old days before Elon took over again,
it was short. Yeah.
It was 100. Yeah, it was 140 characters, but the Japanese, like the script was very short. So it was perfect for that. Japanese people really liked that because it was almost like localized for Japan. But but now, talking about social media, now the number one used social media app in Japan is an app called Line, Line. It's the number one app that everyone in Japan and their mom is using. All the brands are using it for like promotions, and it's kind of like WeChat. It's come in China. It's like a super app, and it has 82.5% market penetration for users between age 16 to 64. So 82%. So 8 out of 10 people are using Line in Japan. Like when you meet somebody in Japan, you don't ask for their number or their WhatsApp or Facebook. You ask for their Line. That's the number one way that people keep in touch. Number 2 is Twitter or X, 53%. Number 3 is Instagram at 49%. And one of the big misconceptions about Japan is Facebook. Facebook actually is not very popular in Japan. They only have a 24.8% penetration. So you can see that if you want to do like Facebook ads and stuff like that, it's not going to be as effective in Japan. Line is the number one way. And then at our last conference last year, Mike, you remember you were there. We had sellers share about building an audience using Line, insert card strategies using Line. Line is like the way to build an audience. And many of these 7-figure sellers, like Nick Katz, he says that he builds a list using Line, and then he sends out messages, because anyone that adds a company or a brand online, like they want to get discounts. Like people are like price sensitive in that way. So anytime there's a holiday, like he shoots out a message on Friday, and then he shoots out another message on Sunday night. And literally, like sometimes the traffic, if it goes to their website, it's like crashing their servers. There's so much interest, like because people on holiday, they're bored, they're on their phones, and like that thing pops up, and they're ready to shop. So
amazing,
definitely take advantage of that.
I know. I remember that there was a lot of great stuff at the last session. Summit. It was amazing. But yeah, Line. Yeah. I use Line too in Thailand quite a bit. I think it's a Japanese company though. But yeah, it is. It's a Japanese company too.
It's big in Thailand, right?
Yeah, it is. It's the main chat app in Thailand for sure. I don't know the numbers like this, but it's definitely like, it's hard to get people on WhatsApp or other chats. They're mostly online if you talk to people in Thailand.
Yeah, for sure. So those are the 6 bridges that we talked about. We covered a lot today, but I feel like it's just the tip of the iceberg. So I wanted to offer the bonus bridge number 7. And we're doing an in-person 3-day conference in Japan, all about Amazon selling in Japan. And even more than Amazon selling, we are adding some new topics as well. It will be in Okinawa, Japan, April 8th to the 10th. And it will be at the Hilton. It's a beautiful resort in Okinawa. Literally, it's on the beach. Like,
Okinawa is beautiful.
I wish you guys. Yeah, I mean, Mike, you've been to Okinawa. Like, how is it like? How's Okinawa?
Yeah, I mean, there's this it's like Hawaii, right? I think it's called the Hawaii of Asia. It's got there's nice golf courses. There's really amazing beach everywhere. It's like I remember like at least the parts I went to. I went for a conference for Startup Weekend back in 2014 for it. It was Startup Weekend Regional Summit, and it was a beautiful resort. Yeah, you can walk to the beach. It was like hill, like it wasn't like it was flat, but it was like kind of these little hills like Mario Kart. I felt like it was golf carts and stuff. It was really unique. It was very flat, I remember, and nice. Yeah, relaxing.
Yeah. So We chose this location. I mean, it's a great location, and my family and I, we were kind of stuck in Okinawa during the pandemic, and we were very blessed. I think there's a lot worse places to be stuck in than the Hawaii of Japan. So I wanted to give the sellers a flavor of that as well. I mean, so in the 2-day conference, you'll learn the roadmap to how to sell up to $965,000 on Amazon Japan. You'll have 8-figure sellers, 7-figure sellers share their playbook, how they did it, launch strategies, external marketing. We talked about line. So you'll learn exact strategies. You'll see like what sort of insert cards people are using. And I think like the most valuable thing is to be able to meet these people in person. And I think like the networking, besides just the in classroom, 2 days, right? You also have plenty of opportunities to network, and we'll be able to go snorkeling. We'll go on the beach. We'll go kayaking, and they have a world famous aquarium as well in Okinawa. So if you're into that, I think it's a great excuse not only to learn more about selling on Amazon Japan, but also enjoy the experience there. And we have a lot of top sellers attending as well. So people like Nick Katz, he's a 7-figure seller. He's been selling in Japan. He's lived in Japan 30 years, and this guy's a retail expert. Yeah, people like Kichu Java, she's a Japan localization expert. He's going to be there. So literally any question that you have about your product, about compliance, you'll have several days to find out exactly what you need to do to get your product in, and find out all of like the duty rates, the tax rates, etc. And I mean, A to Z will leave no stone unturned. It will be April 8th to the 10th, 3 full days at the Hilton Isoko in Okinawa. And tickets are on sale now. 7-figure seller Japan Mastermind. We'll have a discount code for you guys. Mike, maybe if you link it up below.
Yeah, we'll get this on the show notes for sure. And I can put in my outro audio too.
Yeah.
Great.
So, I mean, so thank you so much. I hope this is helpful to some of you guys. I mean, going back to the whole supply chain issue that we're dealing with again, I think it just makes sense to sell closer to the source, to diversify into the 4th biggest market in the world, in Japan. And there's also ways that you can succeed in Japan that we're seeing sellers do. So hope to see some of you guys in Japan, and hope this helps.
It's been very amazing, Gary. And just to kind of put my points is, I was lucky enough to participate last April. It was in Tokyo, so it was more urban. This would be more resort. That if you're listening only, you'll have to check out the website for the pictures. But I mean, this is right on the ocean, and it's a high-end resort. And of course, we've
negotiated the lowest possible room rates for you guys. So you're not going to pay like 5-star hotel prices. You guys will not get any better room rate than the one we negotiated. I really had to like kind of twist their arms, because I'm like, we're bringing in like all of these top sellers, and we're really selling the Hilton as well. So it's a beautiful hotel. And one other thing is they have many English speaking staff, so language will not be an issue, right? So if you don't speak Japanese, that's fine. I'll make sure they'll have English speaking staff to take good care of you guys. If you want more drinks, or if you want to go somewhere, I always try to deliver a great experience, as Mike knows.
Yeah, I mean, it was really top notch.
Like the concierge. The concierge as well. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's great. It's great. We'll link it up on the show notes, and it's gonna be even more amazing than last year. So I'm so excited for this.
Are you gonna join us, Mike?
I'm on the fence. It's about bringing a family or not. It's the harder part. But Okinawa is hard.
Okinawa is so kid friendly, man.
Yeah,
I remember. You can walk the streets. There's no like crazy scooters, and the beaches, the water, and the aquarium. It's a world-class aquarium. Huge. They have whale sharks. I don't know how they got those in the tanks. They have giant manta rays. Amazing. You can feed the sea turtles. I mean, the dolphins. I mean, it's great. It's amazing. You can spend a whole day there. I mean, like, you can be at the conference, your wife and your kids, they'll be happy over there, right?
Okay.
So
that sounds cool. I'm excited.
Yeah, if you guys have families, let me know. Like, I took care of my son for 2 years in Okinawa, so I know like
all the spots. Okay.
Yeah, I know most of the spots, but yeah, it's a big place.
Great.
It's a good place.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this. Thanks for everything you do, Gary. Save the date. Cross Border Summit 2024 is coming back. 2023's was epic. Never got such great feedback in all of our events. Cross Border Summit 2024, we're planning already a year in advance. Save the date. November 14th and 15th will be the core event, but of course, it is a full week of amazing things. There's pre-events, post-events, workshops, trainings, elephant sanctuaries. We have a lot of amazing things here in Chiang Mai, Thailand again. So I would love to see you there. We've already pre-sold some tickets to previous people. We will be opening up tickets soon. Subscribe to get updates at 2024.crossbordersummit.com. Also check out videos and testimonials from last year as well as all of our years. We did them in China, and this will be our 6th one. It'll be great to meet you there and network and make some great relationships. I can't wait. November 2024.
All right. I'm not even sure what it says. Rice with stewed pork. Looks good. Guy worked hard making it. And yeah, so I'm in Taiwan for just a 3-day meeting. A couple in this blockchain e-commerce project we're working deeply on. LoadPipe. We might see a video last time, and there's another one coming. One of our advisors was visiting, so I met him here. We're going to go back to the States, and also a couple quick meetings, and then India. I'll be heading to India on Saturday for the India sourcing trip with Megala. Super excited for that. There's some things happening here. Lots happening, but essentially going really deep into the e-commerce protocol building. They're so lucky. He met Bo on one previous shows, and a couple other amazing developers, and we're building a product, right? A lot of crypto projects are good marketing and hype, but we're doing the opposite. We're building and not hyping. So it's been a fascinating discussion and building and creating most of January. So we're into February now. So really excited for this. People have been joining the Discord, and we're having some just open discussions with just anybody that kind of comes into the community about how to structure the governance, how to structure decision making. It's been really a fascinating time, and it's taken up a lot of my time lately. So it's just, and we have a great team for our Amazon brands. Christian's doing great. We have Lockie, we have Nico, we have a great team behind them, and Chad Stone at the content team. Just really trying to push it. 2024, I hope we all level up, I hope we all grow. But we can't be lazy, we can't just sit on our laurels, we gotta make things happen. So that's it. I'm gonna finish my dinner. It's hard to eat and talk to you. Thanks for tuning in, listening to this, and have a great evening. Bye.
To get more info about running an international business, please visit our website at www.globalfromasia.com. That's www.globalfromasia.com. Also, be sure to subscribe to our iTunes feed. Thanks for tuning in.